Welcome to Phil and Bob's Treehouse.
Central Park trees covered in snow. Over the Hudson, the sunset glow. The smell of halal and jasmine rice. A creep on the corner, don't look so nice. Now he's pooping, why I don't know. Life's full of mysteries, now it's time for the show.
Hi, I'm Phil.
Hi, I'm Bob.
We live in New York City, home to the highlights, the lowlifes, and everything in between. This is our take on the human carnival.
Funding for this podcast is generously provided by Spaceport Las Vegas, the world's third largest private space exploration company. We're going to put the first humans on Mars. You can bet on that.
Wow, interesting concept.
Spaceport Las Vegas,
Yeah.
probably not as well known as like SpaceX, Elon Musk,
yes.
nor Blue Origin, which is Jeff Bezos' little thing.
Right.
But this one is actually the third largest, so just coming in right
Okay.
after Bezos and Musk.
Right.
It was founded by Harmony Indigo Walton. Do you know her?
Never heard of her.
Well, last name, Walton.
Walton? Yeah. Well, is that Walmart related?
Yes, she is one of the children of Sam Walton.
I'm sure he's proud of that.
Well, he's deceased now. He has 4 children that people know about, but Harmony Indigo, I guess, was, what do you call that? Was cut out of the will or just sort of disowned in a way.
Right. Disinherited.
Disinherited to an extent.
Right.
Because I guess she joined a cult at some time in her youth. And I think Sam was displeased with that. She joined something called the Choir of the Sacred Ficus. Not sure exactly what that was, but it was a cult apparently.
Right.
So she sort of alienated from the rest of the family, but took her money, and she wants to explore space and put people on Mars.
I wonder, that's kind of like that, that Nexium cult? Remember that Bromfin lady?
Yeah, the daughter?
Seagram's, Edgar Bromfin's
daughter or
something
wife?
daughter.
Yeah, Edgar Bromfin being the scion of the Seagram's family.
Yeah, like he was the head of it, but she dumped all that money. She funded that whole group.
I know.
So I wonder if maybe there's a weird mini trend of like wealthy billionairesses.
Yeah. I think you've had billions of dollars.
Right.
In an odd way, maybe you feel lost. You're looking for meaning because you don't really have to worry about where your next meal is coming from or what you have to do to survive. You're looking for something deeper, either in a sex cult
Right.
or whatever this sacred ficus thing
Right. What
was.
is the exact business that they do here?
Well, Spaceport Las Vegas,
Yeah.
they sign people up
Right.
to be space explorers
Oh, nice.
and to put people on missions to Mars.
Ah.
And I think it's a little bit delicate because the model is built around getting people to get paid a lot of money now.
Right.
But then maybe like 5-10 years when these rockets are ready, you agree to go to Mars on some of these experimental missions.
Right.
And you might come home and you might not come home.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you get a lot of money now up front.
Right.
In Vegas.
Right. So basically they're asking, like, since you were in Vegas, people who might be a little desperate, they might be possibly broke, maybe-ish, right?
Well, this is
looking for some easy money. They're not reflecting well exactly, in the mood to think 5 years down the line when they may or may not be obliterated by like space junk.
Valid point. Legally, we'll point out that these people are all signing contracts which have been ruled not under duress by all the courts in Nevada.
Yeah.
But arguably, you could say that, getting someone to sign this contract when it's in a storefront next to the Cash for Gold store
Right.
in Las Vegas,
Yeah.
Raises some questions.
Maybe.
But ultimately, I think Harmony Indigo Walton is trying to get mankind to Mars. And, these folks, it's not like they're leaving the next day. They get a pile of cash.
Right.
But 5 to 7 years from now, when these rockets, the heavy rockets are ready from Spaceport Las Vegas, they're going to Mars.
It's interesting that you bring this up. Well, this is our ad actually this week, because I've been thinking about gambling and also desperation. They're also often linked, actually.
Absolutely.
I've mentioned this before. I have some family connections to Atlantic City, New Jersey, which is not a fantastic place these days. There's a smell of desperation in that town. And I was there recently. It's just full of like just vacant buildings and, homeless and so forth. I was sent there as a child. I mentioned this briefly in the last episode on vacations to visit my grandpa. So I think I can be a living witness to like the crumbling destruction of a resort town, really. because the casinos come in, and basically what happened was the plan was somehow it will revitalize this like.
That never works, right?
No, I mean that was the idea. I guess casinos come in and will pump money and tax dollars into your.
I should take that statement back. I think it worked once in Las Vegas, and everywhere else. You tell me if like wherever that Foxwoods Casino is, like if Mashantucket, Connecticut, or whatever that town is that town any better off because of the Foxwoods Casino? Or
I don't know.
Or are the Catskills any better off with that casino that's up there?
Right.
It's easy for state legislatures to just casino their way out of budget deficits, but anyway, that's politics.
I think they were just like maybe they were just like paid off because it makes no sense really. Sounds like a child would be able to realize.
Yeah.
Because a casino is not interested in the health of like any business other than what is inside its building. So like a little store that's next door, they don't want it to thrive. They want everything to be shut down. Isn't that where they put the oxygen up in the air and they
they remove the
clocks and all that nonsense?
They'll hire like some locals to get minimum wage to shuffle decks and deal blackjack. But other than that, I tend to agree with you. I think
actually this is my plan to revitalize that stupid place.
Yeah,
which is I would turn it into like a movie set because it's very cinematic. It's on the water. It's kind of like vacant. It has like a bleak feel. Like it's weathered.
Yeah.
But I think they should someone should turn that into like a permanent, like year-long.
Like a backlot, studio
backlot for like, just like sort of like depressing movies.
It's like you could have like the urban wasteland shot there.
Right.
You would just need to go one block behind the boardwalk.
Right.
To have like neighborhoods that look like a neutron bomb went off.
No,
right?
It's a good place. If you need if there's a little section in your movie or TV show that needs like a vacant, dead, garbage-strewn strip with like whores. Like,
Yeah.
Just go there with a trailer.
Yeah.
And shoot exterior, and you're set.
Other than the hookers, there would also be no people to move out of the background, like wrangle.
Yeah.
Although then the flip side would be like there's actually no people to be extras. So unless you went into the casino. And you were looking, but it's like the only extras you could get are senior citizens on oxygen tanks.
I know. So it's hard to entice them outside to see the light of day.
I know. Unless you're like, here's a coupon for $5 on the penny slots. Well, we had good times there. We've seen a couple of boxing matches
that's
down
true.
there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
They get the occasional fight at the convention
that convention
center.
thing, yeah.
You see occasionally just like commercials or marketing for places like the Indian casinos around the New York area.
Yeah.
I never see anything for Atlantic City.
Never.
I feel like they've given up. The last thing I've ever seen on them in the news is when the Borgata went under, right? Didn't they spend like $2 billion?
No, wasn't that the Revel?
Oh, the Revel. Sorry,
Revel.
Is the Borgata still around?
Yeah, the Borgata is like one of the better ones.
No, the Revel was the one, right? It spent like $2 billion and it went bankrupt in 6 months.
And they have it's like a big building.
Yeah.
It's just empty.
That would be, you could shoot any movie with an office building or a hotel. Yeah. It's a completely empty skyscraper. Yeah, on the ocean.
Anything.
You have no more relatives there then?
No, none.
Not even distant second cousins or anything?
No.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
I've had a paperback on my shelf for years and years. It's called Beat the Dealer. It's by this guy who was a math professor at UCLA.
Do you remember his name?
Yeah, Ed Thorpe. It's complicated. I mean, I think it's complicated. It's how to count cards. He created that system. And then he also helped develop like basic strategy. Those cards, the ones that
in blackjack.
Split aces.
It was like
unless
the dealer has a stick on a soft 17, then you double down with the ace against 10.
Yeah.
Is he still alive?
I don't think so. I remember we used to go to the casinos. I would take that card out and just stick it on the table. It works.
Yeah, but it makes it rote. Like it's no fun. Then you're just following an algorithm.
Yeah. But I tried to flip through his book. It's too complicated for me. I don't have that kind of a brain to like count the cards as they come out of the shoe or whatever,
Yeah, it always feels glamorous in movies.
Right.
But then in real life, it's like you're there at the table and it's like 2 Chinese immigrants on the right and maybe like some senior citizen. And like, it's just really depressing.
Yeah, a little bit.
It doesn't look like George Clooney in Ocean's 11,
No, strange.
Even if you go to the high limit tables, I've noticed in like Vegas, like it's just the bar is set higher. You got to go to like that $1,000 a hand area or the high limit pai gao section.
Yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah, the Asian table games. I have no idea how to play those.
You don't know how to play pai gao?
No, I don't know. How to
I just
play
remember
pai gao.
walking by the tables.
Yeah, it looks like dominoes or something.
Right. Oh, they
Yeah.
use those little tiles.
Yeah, it's
or
like a
something.
tile. Yeah.
And every once in a while you walk by, it's like pai gao.
Yeah, or hiya. I love Chinese gamblers. They're the ones on the blackjack table that taught me monkey.
Oh yeah, monkey.
When you want a face card, they say
what's the
monkey.
monkey?
It's a face card. They call
say
it monkey. Yeah.
You know, there's this other guy. I mentioned this before, but as a kid in New York and public access TV, you know, public access.
Yep.
There used to be a gambling show. This guy John Patrick, and I used to watch it. He had this like white turtleneck with this like sort of stupid 3-button, they're like little sailor blazers kind of. It was called like Beat the Casino or something. He had a studio with like tables, like a fake casino set up.
Yeah.
And he would just, each episode would be on a different game, like craps. And then I remember the one that was on slots, and I was like, you can't win at slots, right?
That's just pulling the lever, right?
That's my understanding.
Yeah.
Well, then I rewatched it the other day with the magic of YouTube.
Yeah.
And it's almost equally as stupid as I remember. But he's like, it's all about money management. So he has an approach on how to manage your money. It doesn't seem like he has a strategy for actually getting the 3 things in a row.
This guy does not seem to be someone I would listen to, whereas the UCLA math professor, that I would be interested maybe in reading that book, but I think there's easier ways to make a living than to sit at a table for hours at a time. trying to
I
count.
would think.
Unless you could do it in a tuxedo in a sexy way, then I would do it.
You were involved, not professionally, but you had an interest in sports betting.
Oh, I still do.
Do you still gamble on games and stuff?
It's not gambling if you don't lose.
I stand corrected. What's your method?
Well, all right, are we going to get this?
Let's get into this because
this is our gambling episode.
This is gambling episode, and I remember
We're going to attract a whole different... Right now, we have, according to our analytics,
Yeah.
we have high-income, intellectual people as our audience base. Now we're going to get all the sport gambling frat bros.
Right.
Well, you
Yeah.
sure you want to do that?
Sure.
Then next thing you know, we'll be reading ads for the Lawnmower 2.0 for Manscaped.
Okay.
All right.
I'm
we're going to
ready
go
for
down that road. Okay.
We'll try to stay a little loyal to our local advertisers like
okay.
Mr. Chen.
Shout out to Dorisha Sadari. Why do you laugh so much at accents? You're racist.
The best humor, in my view, as an aside, is like potty humor
Yeah.
and like ethnic jokes.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
True. Okay. All right. So I think that I have a mathematical / market dynamic oriented interest in sports betting.
Right.
And I guess my system, quote unquote, if you could call it that, how I would describe it would begin with taking a step back and using an analogy from Wall Street. In the good old days of Wall Street, the investment banks loved it when there was an opaque market, right, with very little price transparency, because they feasted on those situations, right? They stood out there and they said, okay, I'm going to make a market in these bonds. And, you know, I have a bid and an offer price, meaning I'll buy it at one price, I'll set it on another, make a little spread. But when you have an opaque market where you've got all the information on an illiquid market like junk bonds, then what you can do is you can trade against your customer.
Right.
So someone comes up to and they say, like, look, I want to trade this bond. They'll tell you what the price is. They'll be like, oh, I'm going to buy it for this. And there's no tape, or at least in the old days, there was no tape or exchange that would tell you what trade that happened at.
Right.
And then they would turn around and they sell it to someone else for 10 points higher.
Yeah.
Effectively ripping your face off,
Right.
to use industry speak.
Right.
Knowing that, it led me to believe, well, if there is a cabal,
Yeah.
because we love conspiracies,
Yes.
of investment banks that can make money in opaque markets, then what is the difference between them and MGM, Caesars, Bally's,
Right.
Bovada's offshore sports books, right?
Yeah.
They are making a market in the Los Angeles Dodgers when they're
Right.
playing at their next game, or the
Right.
New York Giants, versus the Philadelphia Eagles at a
Right.
certain spread.
Right.
When you look at it, what they're charging, if the Giants are an underdog, plus 270, meaning you bet $100 to win 270, right? When they set that price, they're exactly like the investment bank that are making market in illiquid securities.
Right.
Then that led me to sort of begin to collect data on NFL football, because I love the sport.
Right.
To collect data on what the price, quote unquote, of a game was.
Yeah.
and what percent of the public had bet on that team at that price.
Right.
For every game for the entire season.
Right.
And I think I started doing that maybe like 8-10 years ago.
Wait, you can find out their numbers?
The internet's incredible, right?
Yeah.
You can find out what the line was at MGM or Caesars. I mean,
Right.
typically they'll be exactly the same, right?
Yeah.
The Giants -3
Right.
or something.
Yeah.
So you can find that line and what percent of the public money
Right.
bet on either the underdog
Right.
or the favorite
Right.
in that game. That takes a little more digging, and it's hard to get standardized data, but it sort of building that database up
Yeah.
since like 2012.
Yeah.
And then effectively, what I've been looking for are situations where when there's a certain spread in the game
Mm-hmm.
and a certain percent of the public betting on it,
Yeah.
are there cases where the sports books are betting against the customers?
Right.
Right? So everybody thinks that when they set the line at Yankees -3 over the Mets, that they're setting that line
Right.
so that there's equal action on both sides, meaning they're in the middle, and Yankees -3 gets 50% of the money on
Right.
each side.
Yeah.
That's not the truth. And sometimes they're setting the line so that more people bet the way that they're going to lose.
Right.
If you believe that the sports books have access to much better information.
Wait, so you take that, and then how does that inform your strategy?
Ultimately, it's based on empirical, using that data
Yeah.
to find patterns of where there are certain lines and percentages of the money being bet.
Right.
If there are instances where it looks like the underdog or the favorite is winning more so than you would think just by chance.
Right.
So the thesis is just basically, do I believe that sometimes these sports books are betting against the public?
Right.
Just like sometimes investment banks were trading against their customers.
But does this have anything to do with like the actual
No,
games or
that,
anything?
honestly, when I place the bets, then
Yeah.
it could just be it might as well be like Team A versus Team B.
Right.
Like what's more important is
Yeah.
what's the line,
Right.
and what percent of the public is betting on the spread or the money line in certain combinations.
Wait, but how could it have nothing to do with like if like the running back is injured?
The presupposition is that if they're betting against the public,
Yeah.
it's, I think the Hollywood idea is like, oh, they know the running back's
Right,
injured. I
yeah.
think in this day and age, it's too hard to keep that
Right, to
information.
keep- yeah.
But if anyone were to know that,
Right.
the books would know, not
Right.
you.
Yeah.
But do I believe that they can sometimes know that, like, oh, Tom Brady, when he was with the Patriots, like, if they know that a certain percent of the public will bet on Tom Brady just
Right.
because they love him,
Yeah.
regardless of what the actual spread is versus
Right.
what it should be,
Right.
then you can sort of tilt the odds your favor a little, meaning that
Right.
like maybe the spread is -7, but really it should be Patriots
Right.
-4 if there wasn't just irrational public sentiment out there.
Right.
So in which case, if it's Patriots -7, I would take the underdog +7 because
how
I'm
do you-
picking
yeah.
up 3 points.
Wait, so you've used this in practice?
Yes. I
And-
may or may not have done this prior to legalization in New York. Thank God this year. I may or may not have used certain channels.
Certain alternative
Certain
channels?
cash settlement options.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I mean, while the database was being built up, there was learning process. You either win or you learn.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
healthy learning process.
Like a broken arm?
No. You know me, I'm a very frugal
Right.
person,
Yeah.
and so I kept it very reasonable.
Yeah.
It was more about the data collection.
Right.
And
How did it work out?
Well, I would say now I'm sitting on a treasure trove of data, which I shall not share. And nobody knows my last name, and nobody will. And in this most recent season,
Yeah.
I generated about an 18% return
Yeah.
on my invested capital,
Right.
which, I mean, it's uncorrelated to the stock market, which has been having a bad year.
Right.
I don't know if I could do it in size that like I would make an income off, like a living off of it.
Right.
I mean, I guess if I moved to Vegas,
Yeah.
but it's fun as a hobby because first and foremost, I love football. Like I
Right.
love watching games,
Right.
So
That's weird because I don't know. I wonder if this is like unique because there was a documentary. I don't know if you saw it. It was like Netflix or something, but it was like a multi-part thing, and they followed like 3 or 4 guys who professionally do this and with varying degrees of success. Like they live in Vegas or whatever.
Yeah.
But they follow like sports news, I think. I mean,
Yes.
they all, they're at home and each guy has like 12 TVs and, whatever.
Well, and I don't mean to poo-poo that. That's sort of, so what I do is, I guess I would say it's more like technical analysis, whereas those guys do fundamental analysis, and they're looking for, advanced metrics for a sport that, that maybe the public isn't looking at. But I think it gets tougher and tougher as there's more information out there, both for that and my strategy. So, but I'd like to keep I like to keep it tight where I get my public money data from. So.
It's hard to beat the system.
It is hard to beat the system, and ultimately, again, there's no slam dunks. It's just like, where do I think the books are shading one way,
right?
And where so that as a result of that, maybe I can pick up a few less points on the favorite or a few more points on the underdog when possible.
I wonder if football is like easier to bet on.
Well, the reason I like football, again, betting football, is I like the sport, so often I'll just watch the games regardless.
Right.
But it is probably the most bet sport in the U.S., meaning so that they're large markets and they're active markets, so I can always find a trade out there.
I like that.
So I can rip someone's face off.
Nice. I like that idea of like I'm attracted to like the idea of like just like technical stuff. I'm impressed by in awe of like car mechanics. Because like they can actually like fix stuff. So I mean, if you have like have like an insight like under the hood of like a market or like a betting, something like that.
Maybe you hit the nail on the head. It's like a crossword. That's what it is. I enjoy the puzzle solving aspect of this, and I only do it during the football season. And I don't, if you looked at the amounts that I bet, it's not very big at all.
Right.
And for IRS purposes, it's very little that I'm winning. 18%, very little. And, it's just for fun.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe when I'm retired, who knows? I mean, we got to kill the time somehow.
Yeah.
It's better than feeding pigeons.
That's true. I wonder if you have to move to Vegas. You don't even have to move to Vegas for that kind of stuff.
No, well, they put in casinos everywhere, and now every other ad on TV is for, like, these online sports apps, like you can bet anything real time.
Yeah.
Actually, it's the liquid market. It's made it better. A lot of times I'd be winning my bet, and, I play the small return game. I'm not looking for crazy home runs.
Right.
A lot of times if I'm winning at the half, I'll just hedge it out,
Yeah.
So, because you can put a live bet in or do one at halftime.
Yeah.
So. I lock in. I arbitrage my gains.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, that's good. It sounds like you may have your future, your retirement activity.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it definitely took a lot of work to set it up, and then it's kind of like William Faulkner and that bear story. Like, I did it, and now I'm kind of like, okay, I did it. Like, I solved the crossword.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I've given myself a little edge at times. It'll probably go away over time as information, as everything becomes more transparent. And maybe I'll sell a book. We could start seminars.
Seminar.
The Phil and Bob Treehouse Gambling Seminar. Yeah.
I'll do like we'll hold it in like a little convention center, like a little hotel ballroom.
Yeah, the Atlantic City Convention Center.
We'll get like a hotel ballroom.
Yeah.
And I'll put on like a turtleneck like that guy.
Yeah, but that's the thing is I wouldn't want to do that because I feel anybody who really has a system, if they're out there selling it, then they're just making money off that. They're not. They don't really have a system.
Yeah.
Like Donald Trump's real estate get-rich-quick seminars, right?
Right. I like gambling as a topic.
You do?
Because there's something. There's something kind of like shady and illicit and weird.
But at the same time, there's like a little bit of math and like order to it.
Right. Yeah. But we will agree to close this section. You'd agree that it's probably hard to beat the slot machine.
Oh yeah, slot machines, no, and I'm decent with math, but like it's hard to count cards correctly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, like this. Oh, the slot thing. Like I'm just this guy on the video.
Yeah.
One of his strategies.
Yeah.
He said so. He suggested like if you go to a casino with $300.
Yeah.
Play 10 machines.
Yeah.
Right. Take $30 to each machine.
Yeah.
For some reason. And then at each machine get 2 empty cups. You know the cups where you put the chain?
Yeah.
They're coins.
Yeah.
Play until you're up 60% or down 60%.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So whatever the math is there.
Yeah.
And then move to the next one.
How does that stop you from going down 60% and on all 30 cupfuls, right?
And then that was one strategy. Another, he's like, it's all about money management and discipline.
Yeah.
But then another strategy was like, go into the casino thinking I'm only going to play 12 coins on each machine.
Yeah.
You know, because most people go in there, not most people maybe, but if it's easy to get addicted.
Yeah.
And you just start like dumping coins in the thing.
Yeah.
So he's like, go in and just play 5 coins and move on to the next one. Well, I mean, a flaw is that one machine is not necessarily right. They say like one machine could be cold or whatever.
Well, yeah. Although that's gambler's fallacy, right? It's like a machine could be, right? Just because it's not hit jackpot like 9,990,000 times in a row, that doesn't mean it's due on the next one, right? Whatever the odds of getting the jackpot are, it's the same odds on it's independent events.
Yeah. At that point, this video, which is 20 years old at least, he said, so at that point, there's a law on how much what the return is on a slot.
Oh, so maybe he does have I guess if there's a law by return, then maybe it has to catch up.
At that point, he said on that stupid show that each machine had to return at least 83%.
Oh, 83% of
your dollar.
Of the dollar,
yeah.
So you just go in like, hey, I'm going to give you 17 cents on the dollar for a free pina colada.
It's so sad. Going back briefly to the dying and destruction and desperation, I went there with my son Joaquin. This was like a couple months ago, and we rode. It was kind of fun because we rode like go-karts on this sort of like deserted pier, and which I think was run by like a fellow who looks sort of like a meth dealer. But basically, and then we stopped in to urinate in one of the Caesars, I believe. And there was, like one customer it was sort of the middle of the day. He had the day off from school, and it was like a, older gentleman.
Your son had the day off from school, not the person in the Caesars.
The person, he hadn't been to school in a while.
Yeah.
I mean, he would look like he was like 85.
Yeah.
And just like hooked up to that, the machine.
Yeah. And an oxygen tank or no?
I didn't see it.
And also, the thing that everyone rides, the scooter? It's like the mobility scooter?
Yeah.
It's like not really a wheelchair, but you're trying to act like it's a medical device, but really it's...
All right, anyway, that's desperation, AC.
But you know what?
Yeah.
We got to go explore space. It's a noble goal.
Yeah.
And, there might be some people who are down in their luck now. They could use some cash.
Right.
They get the cash. But they got to go to Mars.
Yeah.
They might live and be one of the first people living on Mars. Come
true.
back.
Yeah.
They do the tests on you, see what happens. Good luck to Harmony Indigo Walton.
Right.
Sending desperate people out to Mars in 5 to 7 years.
Yeah. I just want to. The final word here is it's casinos are not meant to give you money. I mean, it's hard to beat the casino.
Very hard.
On a consistent basis.
Exactly.
Right.
Agreed.
So we're not advocating reckless gambling.
No, not at all. Would we take casino money?
No, we would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We would take any money.
Yeah. Yeah, at this point.
Yeah.
We've lost all our sponsors.
I know.
All right. Well, anyway, that's fine.
All right. Okay, Phil.
Okay, Bob.
Yeah.
All
Let's
right.
get out of here.
Bye.
Well, that's the show, folks. Our theme song was performed by Echo Strata. He's an incredible Brooklyn-based artist creating psychedelic alternative music. Check him out on Spotify, Apple Music, and iTunes.
Central Park trees covered in snow. Over the Hudson, the sunset glow. The smell of halal and jasmine rice creep on the corner. Don't look so nice. Now he's pooping. Why, I don't know. Life's full of mysteries. Now it's time for the show.
That was fucking awesome!
That was all right.
Yes!